We are good to go. All right. Welcome everybody who's logging on. I have no idea if this is streaming on Facebook. I will clean that up the next time. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. I really miss my guys who usually produce this when I do the MLS associations. They run it all in the back for me. All I got to do is sit here and talk. Now I'm suddenly having like push buttons. So welcome everybody who's popping on. See some familiar faces. That's good, Jeff. Or like this was the thing. Like I didn't boost any ads. I didn't like really push it out there, other than just like my social media, right? Like I posted that I was going to do it. I put it on a couple of my channels, and I was like, I wonder if anyone's going to show up today at 10 o'clock. You never really know. So I'm glad we got a couple people on here. Welcome everybody. I recognize most of these names. For those of you who I don't, welcome. Thanks for tuning in. All right. So let's get into it. 10 o'clock. I want to be prompt. I want to value your time. I want to get you out of here on time. We're going to go 30 minutes max. Might not even be that long. Just introducing you to the GSD code, what it's all about. And then we're going to do some execution things because of this time of year. So for those of you, and there's only 2 or 3 people, no, there's 1 or 2 people that I don't know on here. If you guys would all mute yourselves, that would be awesome. Numero uno. You should be muted. And I'm going to change my view to right there. So Dan Smith and I have started this new project, the GSD code, to talk and share and give ideas to people, not really charging for anything. I've been at that stage in my life where I was a coach and I charged and I had programs, no charges, nothing to sell you, no series, no nothing. Just come get content, show up when you can, get some good ideas. And so I came up with this idea a couple of weeks back, the GSD code, and it goes both ways. For those of us who are a little bit more conservative, I wanted it to be able to stand for goals, success, drive, right? Because those are 3 really important things. So for their conservative guests, goals, success, drive. And then for those who are just a little bit more cutting edge like myself, it could also stand for, go out there and get shit done. And so I think it's a kind of a cool meaning that we have both things going on right there. And if I duck here, you can, there it is right there. See? There it is on my board. So it means both. And so I want to share what exactly is the GSD code. And so let's get into that. The reason it has 2 versions is because it is focused on your goals, on having success, right? And you've got to have drive to get that done. You've got to go out and work. And then getting stuff done and what you're getting done, it changes. So when someone's like, well, what is the code? I've had like 5 or 6 people message me, like, tell me about the code. Like, what is it? Here's the thing, everybody. It's fluid. It's constantly changing. What the code was last year in March and April, when we got into this whole COVID thing, is completely different than what the code is today. What the code was in 2017 for GSD, for getting stuff done, for getting results, for having success, completely different than what it's going to probably be in 2022. So the GSD code is like this fluid mindset of what it's going to take in wherever you currently live to get stuff done. And that could be in real estate, that could be in loans, that could be in escrow, that could be in, I got Tracy Kirkpatrick here, that can be in home inspections, that can be in whatever it is you do in life. What's it going to take, right, to GSD? And so it's a really moving, fluid thing that's constantly evolving. It's like the Matrix. You guys remember that movie, The Matrix, with Keanu Reeves? And he's got like the green, every once in a while they show the green screen rolling down with the binary codes of 1s and 0s. And they're able to read that code and pull things out of it and give shape and meaning to things. That's kind of what the GSD code is. It's just constantly moving, just screen of code that's constantly changing. Because I don't know if you guys and gals notice, we are going to talk 99.99999% about real estate here, right? And not about other things. But the real estate industry right now is like that Matrix screen. It is just rolling down with those green numbers, and they just keep filling, and it's constantly changing. Everything is changing so dramatically, it seems like on at least a monthly basis, if not a weekly and sometimes even a daily basis. So we're going to talk a little bit about how to evolve, right? And how to evolve and how to keep picking out pieces of that code. And that's what's going to be fun for me, because it's going to be constantly changing. I'm not just going to be talking about the same GSD code in a month from now or 2 months from now than I am today, because it could be completely different based on what's going on out in the world, right? How is Zillow becoming a brokerage changing things? And how has it changed from last month to next month? And like, what does that 2-month window look like? There can be a lot of stuff that comes up there that we're going to be getting into. I'm also going to be recording this. People who are on here will get a copy of the recording. People who are not on here will eventually get a copy of the recording, but I'm going to usually delay it by a couple of weeks. So that's my incentive to show up live. You get to see it first right away. You get the recording right away. If you can't make it to one of these that I ever do, I won't be doing a lot of them, just every once in a while. But if you can't make it, you'll still get it. You just don't get it in right away. Otherwise, you guys all know that you can just not show up and get recordings. It's literally going to be me sitting here talking to the green dot, because you all get the stuff later without having to show up. At least you'll get it right away. You'll still get it without showing up, just slow. All right, not the age of digital. So let's talk about right now. What do we need to be executing on? A couple things. One, I see a lot of people at the beginning of the year already that I've talked to, right? I still talk to agents all the time. I do masterminds. Obviously, we've got our own brokerage that we're doing stuff with these days. And a lot of people are in planning mode. A lot of people are in planning mode and trying to get things dialed in. And so first, I'd like you to do that later this year. I'd like you to do it in the fourth quarter. So in January, you're not dialing in. In January, you are executing. But you know what? It's February the 9th. So that's like too late for that advice. So next year, that's my advice. This year, you just got to go. You just got to go, right? You don't have the luxury of taking a quarter to plan like you did in the fourth quarter. You don't even have the luxury of taking a month to plan because you've already given up January. So you just got to go. And so what does that mean? It doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to be good enough, right? I want you to think about that. It doesn't have to be perfect. I mean, if we strive for perfection, that's something that we should do. And we always want to shoot for perfect, right? But it doesn't have to be perfect. It's just got to be good enough to get out there. And I think sometimes we take too long trying to write the perfect plan. My videos, for instance, some of you are on my email list, and you got that email from me last week that had like the little JPEG in it, right? And then it had the play button. You guys, some of you got that, I think, right? Nod your heads if you're on the screen, if you did get that little thing. And so originally it was my intention I wanted that play button to be my link. I wanted people to be able to hit the play button, which was actually just a JPEG, not an actual video. And then that would, when they hit it, it would do the link into my YouTube. That was my plan. And after like half an hour of messing around with it and trying to figure it out, I couldn't figure that out. So I decided, you know what? I just got to get this video out. So I put the little thing underneath it that said, click here to watch the video above. So it wasn't perfect, but I still got my video out to everybody, and I still started like getting out what I wanted to get out, right? I'm still going to be working on trying to figure out that damn hyperlink. And if any of you know how, I'd truly appreciate a DM or an email after this to let me know. But it was good enough to get the content out. Some of you guys on social media posts, some of you guys in your farm mailers, some of you guys in the events you're trying to put on, you plan them to death. And then by the time it's time to do it, it's too late because it's already come and gone. It's just got to be good enough. It's like that jungle thing, right? You don't got to be the fastest. If a lion's chasing you and your buddy, you don't got to be the fastest person in that race. You just got to be faster than your buddy, right? Let him get eaten by the lion, not you. So just like that. So that's the first thing I want to talk about. Don't worry about doing it to perfection, right? Just make it good enough to get out there and start making something happen. If at any time you guys have questions, I'm going to open up my chat bar right here, right now. If at any time, some of you are rapping on there, cool. If at any time you guys have questions, just like, hey, Dan, I got a question, jump in so I'll know to ask, or literally just unmute yourself and cut my ass off. Just be like, yo, Dan, stop talking. And just cut me off and ask me your question right then and there. Because it's a lot more fun if you guys are participatory and it's not just like me rambling. Okay. So by the way, everybody, if you haven't seen Nolan's backdrop, it's really cool. I don't know if you've got Nolan on your screen or not, because just one screen right now. He's got Shea Stadium as his backdrop there. Built Shea Stadium out with the actual seats, and he put up the brick and everything. So coolest backdrop of the day, winner award there. And Pablo is using his son's Zoom account. Sweet. All right. So let me flip over my list here about what I wanted to talk about next. Formal notes, everybody, of what I'm going to talk about today. As you can tell, I planned it, but I just wrote it out neatly, as you can see. Dan neatly. All right. The other thing I want to talk about, one, right? Doesn't have to be perfect, just has to be good enough. Two, Super Bowl Monday. I know it's Tuesday, but yesterday was Super Bowl Monday. I don't know if you guys know, Super Bowl Monday is the completely unscientific, unofficial launch to listing season, right? Because Super Bowl Monday is when everybody's finally got all their crap put away. You'll still see like that one or two people every once in a while on streets as you roll down your streets this week who finally got the Christmas tree out of their house and has put it on their curb. And you can be driving down and going like, oh my God, Dan's right. Somebody still had their freaking Christmas tree up all this time, right? So people are getting over their decorations. People are getting over their whole holiday hangover, right? We're into the new year. We're starting to figure things out. And then the Super Bowl comes, and like Super Bowl is like the unofficial preseason kickoff to listing season, right? Because the next day people are like, oh, it's far enough into the year now. I think we might want to do something. And so it's a really good day for real estate agents because it's like, this is your go sign. People will no longer be like, it's too soon. The holidays just hit us. We don't know what we're doing. We're still too disorganized. They don't give you that excuse anymore. So as you start reaching out to your past clients, your sphere of influence, your hot leads, even your cold leads, right? You're not going to run into that holiday hangover rule anymore. This is the time. Super Bowl Monday is the kickoff for when people start to transact real estate. And then I don't know if you guys have noticed historically, like let's take 2020 out of the mix until like March 19th in California. But historically, you start to like get more and more traction and you start to get more and more momentum and you see the market picking up and there being more buyers and there are more people out there, right? It's just like a locomotive that's getting going and it just keeps on moving faster and faster and faster. And we were doing that last year too, right? January, February, Super Bowl Monday, really started getting going in February. And then somebody hit that emergency brake, right? And they locked up those wheels on those rails and on March 19th. And that put us in about a month and a half tailspin because of COVID lockdown and nobody knew what was going on, right? But then what happened? Man, come late April, that thing just started to chug just a little bit again, right? And then come May, it started to chug. And come June, it was almost going full speed. And in July, it was going full speed. Well, we're back to the beginning of that right now. We're back to after the holidays, it's getting going. And it finally hit pace now. It's going to start hitting pace here in the next week or two. And that's what always happens after the Super Bowl. So you want to be doing something to put yourself in a position to take advantage of that. Because you know what's not going to happen on March 19th this year? I feel pretty confident saying this. We're not going to be surprised by a virus we know nothing about and have to go into lockdown mode again. Right? It's going to be a long term coming out of this thing and not wearing masks probably. But I think we have all adapted pretty well. And obviously the industry as a whole has adapted very well. I'm looking at names here. So Kimberly, you're the only out-of-stater right now on this thing. I know you're in Texas. I don't know where in Texas, to be honest. Big state. But you're in Texas. And as I talk to people from all over the country, the story is the same. The market is nuts. Inventory is low. Buyers are out there. Everything's multiple offers. Super competitive. In whatever part of Texas you're in, you can give us a nod, I think, because your screen's up. Would you agree with that? Is that what's going on in your area too? And where are you, by the way? You in Austin? Dallas? Houston?
I'm in Houston.
Houston, okay. I'll run out of cities soon. After San Antonio, I was done. I was toast. So, okay, good. So in Houston, but I don't care where you guys call and talk to people, but Nashville, Orlando, Ocean City, New Jersey, Mankato, Minnesota, Las Vegas, Albuquerque, New Mexico, Portland, Oregon. The answer is the same. The market is nuts. Listings are hard to get. Everybody agree with that? Buyers, they're like falling out of the sky. You throw a rock up in the air and there's a significant chance when it comes down, it'll hit a buyer in the head, right? They're just buyers everywhere, it seems like. But listings, they're very hard to find right now. So one of the things I want to talk about was Super Bowl Monday and GSD, because if you just continue to wait, if you just continue to do what you did in January, right, and then try to hope that your February and March will be different, that's not going to work. So we've got to do something. And our biggest issue right now, I think the biggest issue with 99% of the real estate agents out there is a lack of, somebody unmute and say the word, lack of, I'm going to make you participate. No one's typing, no one's unmuting. Oh, look, it's a contest. Who will last longer, Dan or the audience? Lack of, oh, Nolan's typing. I can see Nolan going to the keyboard. Urgency, nope, good guess though. There's not enough houses, inventory. That's our biggest problem right now, right, everybody? You have a couple, just about everybody has a couple of buyers they're working with and can't either one, find them anything that's not a POS, right? And if you do find them something that's not a POS, there's 27 offers on it, okay? And so, trust me, we've been trying to buy a house. By the way, bought one yesterday, right? So all of you know who knows what I'm trying to do with our little cultural office hub. Finally got into escrow last night / this morning. But we've written 9 offers. all over list price over the course of the last 3 months, lost them all. Finally got in last night on one. Super competitive, right? It's like the Hunger Games out there, right? For real estate agents, right? It's like you guys are like playing to the death. And like Nolan actually put up this post, I want to say, a couple of days ago that had like the lady who stands on the mic. You guys ever seen the Hunger Games? And she's like, may the odds be forever in your favor. And the little meme was listing agent to all buyer's agents, right? Because that's what it's like to be a buyer's agent right now, right? You're just like, the odds are not against, they're not with you, they're against you. And so in this Hunger Games environment that we're in, one of the things that I'm going to suggest everybody do to go out there in GSD, right? Go create your own inventory. What does that mean? It means don't find houses on the MLS to show your buyers. If you find a house on the MLS that comes on the market this morning and you tell your buyers about it, and then your buyers go out and see it, because they're really good buyers, by the way. They're not those buyers who are like, oh, great. Okay, I'm free Saturday at 3 o'clock. Can we go see it then? You're like, no, it would have already been sold for 4 days at that point, right? Not those buyers, but the buyers who are like, great, I'll go today at our lunch break. We'll leave a little bit early, or I'll take an extra hour so we can go see this, whatever, right? In Kimberly's area, it's really diverse. It's a lot of driving. Maybe it'd be an hour to go see it. In our area, it's like 9 minutes. But we drive out there, we show them the house, and they like it, and they write the offer. And then you send the offer into the listing agent, and the listing agent's like, fantastic, thank you. And you say to the listing agent, so when can I expect a response? And the listing agent says something like, oh, probably tomorrow. Maybe, let me see, today's Tuesday, either tomorrow or Thursday. And you're like, oh, that's not bad. And then, but they keep talking. And they're like, because I'm going to have to do the other 15 to 20 offers at the same time. So I'll let you know where you land. And that's what it is, like with every single buyer right now, it seems like, right? So if you're going to sell something on the MLS, you have to either, one, get lucky, or two, just keep buying it. Because you do understand it's the same 18 people you're competing against on every single house, right? Like there's 18 of you who write offers. And then in the next house, there's 17. And then in the next house, there's 16, because eventually one gets knocked off. But the problem is new people keep coming into the mix. So it like stays at 18 all the time. And so it's always the same group of people who are writing offers. So don't go out there and sell them something on the MLS. I mean, try, and if it comes up, show them. But don't just rely on that. I mean, that you should have experienced enough pain by now to know that that's probably not the plan you want to rely on. Agreed? So go create your own inventory. Figure out what they're looking for, right? I've got 2 agents that I know who are doing a good job of this, and they're able to put together a deal about every 2 weeks. And 1 deal equals 2. Think about that. 1 deal equals 2. So a deal every 2 weeks is 2 equals 4. And if those of you challenged at math, 4 times 12 equals 48. That's a good year, right? And what she's doing is she can't find the right house for her buyers, or her buyers aren't writing offers that are winning. So she's going out and finding the houses not on the market. She's doing a lot of mailing. She's doing a lot of door knocking. I know you guys aren't supposed to knock, right? I'm not telling you to knock. I could actually tell you to knock. Like, I have no license at risk. So, but whatever. Like, the DRE can't come down on me at all. But knock, drop, mail. She's somehow going out there and creating this inventory and finding people who want to sell, saying, I don't even want you to put it on the market. I don't even want to list your house. She's being very clear about that. Either my buyers will buy it or they won't. I'll leave you alone. This isn't like some gimmick to get a listing. And she's getting people like, well, that doesn't suck, right? And so no, that's not to say that she doesn't lie. And then after the people don't like the listing, still maybe talk about a listing, but at least it's getting the phone calls back, right? And she kind of lays off them for a little bit. And then they go out, they like it, they don't like it, writes the offer. Sellers are happy. They didn't have to show it. They didn't have to do anything. They didn't have to clean it, put people on it, photography, any of that. She's pretty happy. You know what the marketing expenses are on that? Nothing, right? Buyer's super happy because they had somebody, they're finding a home now, and they feel like they got a great agent because they got an agent who created something that no other agents were able to create. I mean, it's a win-win-win for everybody right here. Do you see that? But you know what it takes? It takes work. It takes execution. Daily, she's got to go out there in GSD. Daily, this other guy up north, he's got to go out there in GSD, right? You can't just like sit back and put up a few posts and hope it happens. They're grinding 3, 4, 5 hours a day on this project. I'll tell you what, if I told all of you right now, if I promised you guys, if you give me 5 hours a day for the next 10 work Monday through Fridays, next 10 Monday through Fridays, you give me the hours of 10 till 3 and do what I say, I'll give you a double-ended $900,000 deal. How many of you would be like, okay, I'll sign up for that plan, as long as you guarantee it? I'll give you 5 hours a day for the next 10 work days and you guarantee me 1.8 million in production, done. And then you do that again, 3.6 in a month, right? 42 million or something in a year. Think about that. You guys would totally do it if it was guaranteed, but we don't know. Like, oh, well, what if I do all that work, Dan? And then I don't double end one. I mean, that is the risk. If it was easy, everybody would do it, right? So, but go out there and create your own inventory. I think that is the GSD move right now for this spring selling season. Have any of you lost, and none of you will raise your hands because this is a painful question, but some of you, maybe not now, but have at times lost a buyer because you've written 2 or 3 or 4 or 14 offers and they can't get them accepted. It's never your fault, right? Like they just write shitty offers, right? Or even they write good offers, but not good enough offers. And so they get frustrated and they leave you, and then they either go to another agent or they start going directly to the listing agents after a period of failures, right? If you actually were out there doing something besides showing that was on the MLS, which by the way, they kind of have access to, right? Like every website known to man now has MLS access through IDX. Maybe not as up to the minute, but close. So if you're out there creating inventory that no one else knows about, that they don't know about, that's a value add to them. That shows that you're doing something that no other agents will do. And your reward for doing so is getting to double in deals and actually get them into escrow instead of losing clients. So that would be something that I would suggest as a GSD move for right now, this little code time that we have right after Super Bowl Monday as we head into the spring selling season. Don't worry about going out and getting listings to put on the MLS. Go out and get your own listings that you can sell your own buyers to and double in them every time because there's no competition. Questions about that while I look at my notes? Okay, 2 more things. No questions about that? It's a very quiet group. I'm gonna have to figure out the next time I do one of these how to make it more interactive. Food for thought. Okay, GSD. This, I don't think ever changes. This is a part of the code that is constant, and just like the matrix always is 1s and 0s, never 2s and 3s. It's always 1s and 0s in that code. This is like that kind of a constant ingredient of the code. You got to set daily goals, not annual goals, not quarterly goals, not monthly goals, not weekly goals. Those are all good goals to have, by the way. And I have 5-year, 1 year, 1 quarter, 1 month, 1 week goals. Me, myself, and I, right? All 3 of my split personalities, we have those goals. So we have like 9 goals. We have a lot of goals. But I also have daily goals.
What are some daily goals that you would recommend, Dan? Sorry, you said to interrupt you.
No, it's perfect. So
like, are you talking about activity goals? Are you talking about result driven?
So it's going to be different for everybody. Sorry, I was literally getting this out of the trash can because I threw it away earlier. And so I got it back out. So mine is, and this is just me, right? So whatever you do, and you could have 10 daily goals or 1 daily goal. I have recently, and I changed this because I get bored, right? Squirrel, and I have to do something else to keep myself engaged. But right now, like for the last month and a half, this has been my vibe. I'm setting 3 goals every day. And I have it written down here, Pablo. It says me. You can't read it, but right here it says me, and then there's a goal, and then it says family, and then there's a goal, and then it says business or money, and then there's a goal, right? So every morning when I wake up and do my journaling, I also pull out one of these cards and write down, I'm going to accomplish something in each one of those today. Sometimes I do it the night before. I do most of my daily planning the night before.
Yeah.
I know what my schedule's gonna look like, but I found myself doing my goals in the morning. I get up super early, right? I get up at 4. So I found myself in the morning when I'm doing my journaling, that's kind of like my brain starts to think about stuff like that. And it's easier for me to choose like this kind of a thing in the morning versus the night before. Because my brain's in that. But the night before, it's like very tactical. This is more emotional, I think, for myself a little bit. And so every day I set out to accomplish. And I know that, shit's going to hit the fan today. Because, today ends in a Y. Any day that ends in a Y, like that's going to happen in my life. And so there's nothing I can do to control that, as much as I've always tried to. No controlling that. But I do know that when I wrap it up for the day, and I'm calling it end of day, and I've gotten these 3 things done, whatever I set for myself, I know that was a successful day because I lived it with intention. I got things that were done that were important to me, in all areas of my life, myself, my family and friends, and then my business or my finances. And those are like the 3 areas of my life that I tend to focus on, right?
And do you find your goals are different every day on each one, or does it seem to be the same goal repeated over and over?
I try to get very specific, because if it was like, tell my family I love them, right? That's a very generic goal, and it could be repeated. So it could be, for instance, yesterday was with Tennyson. Take Tennyson to the bank to open up his investment account. So it's a specific thing to do with somebody in the family. He's really been wanting to go do that. And obviously he's not 18, so I got to be with him. So he's really been wanting to do that. So I want to make sure I carved out time in my day to be a great dad, right? Rather than just telling the kids I love them. So I try to get very specific. That was maybe a more in-depth one. Yesterday on the business side was set one recruiting appointment. Set one appointment for somebody who wants to talk about coming over to Anvil.
Okay.
Right. And just like, that was a tangible business goal. Right. And then the me one was make sure to knuckle down and learn new lyrics it's a simple one, right? But it's not simple. Learn new lyrics for a new song to play on the ukulele. Like, I know how to play the song, but then I don't know the words. I'm just like humming because I can't keep track of the words. So like, study the words that I can play with the song. I have a goal to be able to play 10 songs and sing all the words. As it turns out, I can play 8 of them. I know the words to 1.
All right.
And so the rest of the year, I'm like really focusing on learning the words with the music. That's just like a me thing. That's something I want to accomplish. So I covered all bases there. So every day, that was a pretty, again, very specific one, right? I won't write that one again today, right? That wasn't what I wrote down for today. It's like, today is actually under the me one is completely different. Under the business one, it's get all of my stuff to our lender, right? Kind of deal for loans, right? And not be one of those buyers who float around and never turn into shit in, right? So it changes every day based on what I want to accomplish. But for me, I go those 3 ways. So what I'm going to tell you guys is, you can't have a successful day if you haven't defined a successful day. You can't have a day that you feel good about at the end of the day if you don't know what it takes to feel good about it at the end of the day, right? And so you're left like wanting and like, and it's just like yuck feeling. Like, you don't know. It's like, I don't know, is it a good day? What do I compare it to? Here's what I don't do. I don't compare it to anybody else's. I sure as shit don't compare it to anybody's Instagram life, right? And I don't compare it to what anybody else is doing as well. I set my goals in the morning, and I set out to do what I know is going to make me feel good. So when I look at it at 2 o'clock in the afternoon or 10 o'clock at night, you know, it's different every day. I'm like, you know what? I did my stuff. I GSD'd today. I got done every single thing I wanted to get done that I defined as being a success. Sometimes, Pablo, I will have 2 or 3 things because I'm like feeling it. Like, I got to do A, B, C under this one, right? So sometimes there's more than one. But at a minimum, I got to have 1 in each one of those categories. So that's how I do it. So I'm going to tell you guys, you need to set out and clearly define what success looks like. If you don't know what success looks like, you will not achieve success, right? No matter how hard you work, no matter how much you grind, no matter how much GSD you get done, right? If you don't know you've gotten to the finish line, then the race isn't finished. You're like Forrest damn Gump. You just kept on running. Right? Scored a touchdown and no one told you you're supposed to stop and you're still going. How great would it have been to know you scored a touchdown? So set that goal for yourself each day. That's another part of it. Last thing is, make sure you got some, and this is kind of one of those constant 1s and 0s too. You got to have support in your world. You got to have accountability in your world. And then you got to have more support in your world. It's got to be somebody there supporting you, helping you, pushing you, pulling you, holding you up. Pushing you to do more, holding you accountable, being a support system. If it's got to be your family, your office, the environment you find yourself in, you've got to find that support. And if you're going to live a life of GSD, you cannot do it alone. It's too hard. There's too much, right? You got to have somebody else there to help and to rely on and to lean on sometimes. And then you got to sometimes be that person that they can lean on to, right? Sometimes you're the holder. Sometimes you're the leaner. For those of you who are not on my email list and want to be, shoot me an email, Dan@bydansmith, BYDANSMITH, Dan@bydansmith. I do this once a month newsletter that I send out. I also send out a couple videos reminding you of things like this. So if you're not on that newsletter and you want to be, shoot me an email saying I'd love to be on the email list to get your newsletter. Once a month, 2 pages, 7 points, pretty short. I know a lot of you get it. Pretty easy read. I just put 7 random things that are going through my head that month that, you know, that I think are interesting. So super easy read. So if you want to get on that, shoot me an email. And then again, if you ever have questions, need anything, DM me, hit me up. I'm not always responding right away, but I'm almost responding same day. But like if you're sending me one right now, because my phone is flashing, I'm not reading it because I'm talking to you. But eventually I do free up each day that I'm able to get back to everybody on a daily basis. So, and thank you for being here today. 10:30 on the nose. In the very beginning of this, I was telling everybody, I was like, I hope somebody shows up. That would kind of suck. You never really know when you host events. It's kind of scary, right? If anybody's going to bother to show up, you're just going to be talking to yourself. You're like, nobody likes me. So thank you guys for coming. I appreciate it. Spread the word. Next time I'm doing one of these, I don't know when it is. I might do it in 3 weeks. I might do it in a month. I might do it in, I won't do it next week. But I'll do one again before April for sure. Maybe not in February, but spread the word. Let other people know. I'd appreciate it. Getting more people on here. And before we log off, anybody want to unmute, need anything, have a last minute question? I'm going to take a screenshot of this screen. Stick with me real quick. That tells me who's on here and gets the recording right away. That way you'll get the recording right away. Everybody else has to wait. All right, cool. You guys are good. Thank you.
I appreciate it,
being
man.
here. Talk
Hey,
to you guys later.
Norvell.
Bye, guys.